By now you know or may have heard of Brics, but if you don't know and you're Kenyan, you need to know, and here is why. President Ruto wants Kenya to join Brics. Brics is an organization of countries that have come together to fight or just, to fight the Western domination and to push for de-dollarization of the world, because they feel the Western nations have been dominating the world. Simply, number one, because of creating a system, the SWIFT system of money, and ensuring that any business you carry out around the world is dominated and actually pushed by the dollar. But guess what is happening? Kenya now wants to join Brics. And what interests me most about this is that this is coming 2 days after the election of President Trump. Do you know how suspicious that is? Well, that's just for me. This is me being suspicious, because this happened on Tuesday, and the same Tuesday is the day that the United States elected Donald Trump as their 47th president. So Kenya's President William Ruto held bilateral talks with China's top Communist Party official, get this name, Li Shi, in Nairobi. And this happened on Tuesday this week. And this during that meeting is when President Ruto requested, or rather placed Kenya's request to China's support to join Brics. So we are here telling China, I know we've been playing you by looking west and east at the same time, but this time round it looks like we are probably going to look east. And this is with having a president that is Republican, number one, and having that president of the US being Donald Trump. So the top official, Li Shi, arrived in Kenya's capital, Nairobi, for the bilateral talks on Monday, where he was welcomed by officials, different officials from, top government officials. And those they met in State House. So, of course, that is where President William Ruto welcomed him. So during the talks, President Ruto pledged that the strengthening ties between the two nations, that is Kenya and China, and this is what he had to say.
I want to assure you is committed to promoting this partnership across Africa and also upholding the One China policy.
So with their strategic partnership, the two nations are now collaborating on the different development projects in the country. And for Kenyans, we've seen this across, especially our road networks. That's where you see Chinese road network and construction, like basically the real estate sector. And with housing, the affordable housing programs, we've also seen a lot of Chinese domination in that sector. So the president has assured that with a lot of these things going on, then Kenya is in good terms with China. So during the talks also, he promised that we will ensure we are aligned with the One China policy strategy, which maybe it will help us gain more, or it's a way of looking to see if we can gain more. That is, if Trump is, as it is, we all know that Trump is not interested in Africa in any way. If anything, Trump, for him, what comes first is America first. Anything else, especially for Africa, doesn't matter. If you remember at one point during his presidency, he actually called Africans hole. Now that he's back at the White House, prepare yourself. And I feel this is a way of, when China saw this presidency happening, and even Ruto seeing that happening, then he knows at this point we have no option, because probably we may not get a lot of World Bank and IMF loans. And so now we have to look for other development partners. And joining Brics means we will work with countries like Brazil, maybe not much. Russia, of course, we have to do a lot of work to build our relationship. India, of course, we do a lot of trade with them, and maybe we will do more. And China, of course. South Africa, of course, we do quite a lot with business. We even do free, like cross-border moving without really needing a visa. So probably us joining Brics will bring us with these countries, closer with these countries, and also building our businesses. Why President Ruto is asking for China's backing for Kenya's aim to join Brics is also because currently the Brics members that we have, they make up about 28% of the global economy. Do you know how huge that is? These are nations that can shake up the world, and will actually, if actualized, will shake up the world. So interesting, again, I'm mentioning this again, is that this comes after we noted that the man Donald Trump won in the recent election in the US. So maybe it was a quick fix. You know, they say a wise person must keep your eyes alert. Once we noticed that Trump is there as the new president, and of course our foreign policy with the US, of course we may not be totally cut off from the US, that's given, because nobody wants to keep the US as a full 100% enemy. But the truth is, the things that we've been getting, and especially on the loaning factor and development projects, they'll cut down, like the level will go down. And if it goes down, it means there's a shakeup in the country's economy. And so to avoid that shakeup, you start looking in other countries where you can partner with different interests, especially if the interests meet the interests of the citizens. Many Kenyans and international partners are questioning this gimmick, that it was too, the timing was a bit questionable. And many are starting to see, actually, by all means, we're going to look east. I mean, we've been looking east and west in between, but at this point, I think we have no choice. We will be focused on the east, and so a lot of business may go towards that direction. So what is also interesting of having President Ruto being the president that is pushing for the joining of Brics is that in 2023, the Brics summit was held in South Africa. And during that time, a lot of African leaders were invited by having the fact that it was held in Africa. So the thing that made many question is that President Ruto did not attend that event. And according to word on the street or officials that are close to the powers that be, the reason why he did not want to attend that summit was because he did not want to rub shoulders with coup plotters of West Africa. We had the president of Burkina Faso, Mali, those presidents, some of them were attending the Brics summit, and so he did not want to be looked at as someone who does not support democracy, hence why he chose to stay away. But his staying away did not fully he sent officials, because the current CS for Labour, who's Alfred Mutua, was among the officials who attended the Brics summit in 2023. The president of Tanzania was there, Samia Suluhu. So there are leaders who attended, but for him it was a matter of, look good to the West by all means. Don't mix with people who, plot coups. Sometimes I look at these things and I'm like, does it really matter? I mean, just the other day, this week, the president was in Sudan, and what has it, he had a meeting with one of the Janjaweed leaders. So if you're doing such a thing, like you're going to a guy who's been leading a group that is questionable, then what's the difference between that and the army taking over and you meeting with, let's say, Burkina Faso's Ibrahim, because he was, part of a plotter of a coup. After all, we've seen them meeting in other spaces, but because this was Brics at that point, maybe he had not seen the light, and suddenly the eyes, when Trump came in, the eyes have, been opened. But anyway, geopolitics is a very interesting space, and how it works always fascinates me. So during that time, Kenya's top official policy, Sing'oei Koril, confirmed that last year, the absence of President Ruto was very intentional, highlighting Kenya's unique stance even as it pursues closer ties with Brics bloc. So the push for Brics membership makes Kenya's attempt to align with countries challenging the Western domination of the world. And the bid comes at a time when Brics is expanding its membership and strategic clout. Of course, just recently, Russia, when Russia was hosting the 16th edition, which is last month, in Kazan, this summit drew a lot of eyeballs. And why did this happen? We had the president of China, Xi Jinping, attending. We had the prime minister of India, Modi, attending. So we had the president of Turkey. And the most interesting, that Turkey president attending this event drew a lot of attention because Turkey wants to join Brics. Turkey is a member of NATO. So with all these things, everyone wants to be at a place where, if President Putin can attract all these leaders, then maybe it's time other leaders start looking towards that direction. Something else people are questioning is that if we join Brics, or shall we be allowed by Brics nations to join while still we have the non-NATO ally status? That's something to think about, and most people are actually just watching and waiting to see what happens with the non-NATO status again with the ascendance of Donald Trump to power. So these are interesting factors and geopolitics affairs that are happening across the world, and Kenya is not left behind with these things. And actually, you should know that no country gets left behind on geopolitics affairs, because every nation has interests, and most of these things happen with countries wanting to know what are we gaining from this. So despite its long-standing alliance with the US, Kenya has shown a growing interest in building closer ties with both China and Russia, and maybe President Ruto is the one who will get us out of that mark of being tied to the West, you know, like having us gripped by the West, that we cannot make any decision by ourselves. We don't know. We're just watching and waiting. But from where I sit, I feel Kenya joining Brics would be a very good decision, if at all the whole idea of Brics comes to life eventually, and if they get serious about it. If you're Kenyan or African generally, just tell us in the comment section what you think about it and how you feel about the president, the 47th leadership of the US with Donald Trump as president, and also as Africans, how we feel about this and how do we think it's going to affect us. Just talk to us in the comment section. Let's interact and see if indeed we can get each other understanding of the world politics and how it affects us. So, because we can't stay ignorant, we can't close our eyes to things happening across the world. Thanks for watching to this end. I hope by now you're subscribed. If you really enjoy the issues happening across the world, don't miss to be on this channel. We'll see you on the next episodes.